Okay, my friends, I've got one more lesson for you before I let you get on with the final exam and move on to the rest of your lives. This final lesson is one that your instructors specifically asked me to make sure I get into this course. It's about writing. As a professional, you will become a professional writer. Whether you're writing reports about your productivity, recommendations to a supervisor, or writing up one of your employees, you will have to take command of the written language to succeed, both as a professional and as a student. And here's the thing, college students these days actually write more than they did 20 years ago, since virtually every student writes email, text messages, Facebook posts, tweets, and other electronic communication every day. We do a lot of writing outside of the classroom. But the kind of writing you type with your thumbs over Instagram or Twitter is totally different from the writing that you'll conduct in professional situations or in the classroom. Here's something you might not know. College teachers constantly complain that students don't seem to know how to switch from informal writing, like conduct on social media, to formal writing, like papers, projects, and emails. Did I just say email? I sure did. Did you know that email is actually a rather formal communication environment that has replaced letter writing? When you write an email, you should use the same grammatical rules and formality that you would use if you were writing a business letter. Anytime you email a teacher using misspellings, numbers in the place of words, or shortcut abbreviations, believe me, your teacher says, "When is this kid going to learn to write like a professional?" So, I'm going to take some time to talk about written formality and hopefully help you break some bad habits before you bring them into the classroom. Within formal academic papers, informal texting or tweeting, or even halfway formal spaces like online discussion boards, good writing is communication that meets the audience's expectations. Writing well online means understanding the space you're in, knowing who your audience is, and preparing your text in a way that meets the audience's expectations. Right? Now, if your audience is expecting you to represent yourself professionally with logical arguments, clarity, proper grammar and spelling, and well-developed paragraphs, but you blurt out your message in one long, unedited, ungrammatical, messy sentence, well, guess what? You've lost them. But if your audience is expecting quality writing and you compose a message that carries that correct formality, well, then you've communicated something to the reader before they've even read your first word. You've told them that you care about the communication between the two of you, that you're savvy enough to speak at an intelligent level, and that you deserve a well-developed response. By taking the time to meet the audience's expectations in all your written communication, you ensure more power in your writing and respect from your reader. Genre. Genre is a French word that means the category or the type of work that you're dealing with. When you browse the iTunes store, for example, the music usually is organized by genre: rock, R&B, country, and so forth. Genre refers to the main category that the different works fall into. And as an online student, you'll write in many genres. Over the course of a single term, you'll write papers, exam answers, emails, discussion threads, chat posts, and more, all while you're in class. You'll also write within other genres on your personal time when you Facebook or text or tweet. Since we write in various genres, there really isn't one definition of good writing. Rather, different expectations must be met within different written genres so that you meet your audience's needs and expectations. There's a spectrum of written formality, and all genres of writing can be placed on that spectrum. Notice on the graphic here how most formal writing you might compose are college essays. This would also include news stories, formal reports, or anything that professional writing is thought to be formal. On the other hand, on the other end of the spectrum are text messages, chat dialogue, and social media posts. In those informal environments, your audience expects you to be informal, ignore spelling and grammar, simply type quickly. You know this, of course. Everyone knows that texts and tweets are less formal than papers. written exams and professional writing. The problem is some college students ignore the different expectations of the different writing environments. If you use text shortcuts and make grammatical mistakes, or put an emoji in a paper or professional writing, rather than obeying formal rules with more formal writing, then you're going to miss the point of professional writing. I don't want you to do that. I want you to start paying attention to the genre in which you're writing, and make sure to write with formal correctness in formal environments, and feel free to write informally within informal writing environments. To me, the most interesting type of writing is email. Email is almost exactly in the middle of the spectrum. It's halfway between formal writing and informal writing. But more interestingly, when you email different people, formality can change depending upon who you're writing to, right? If you're emailing a professor, you should use a more formal language. When you're emailing a friend, it might be a lot less formal. When you're emailing your parents, maybe it's somewhere in between. The most important thing is that you don't ignore the expectations of formality, but instead pay attention to it, respond to it. In general, email should always start with a salutation, Dear Dr. English, or Dear Bill. When writing an email, you should use paragraph spacing. Every new topic you write should have its own paragraph, even if those paragraphs are short. Use block paragraphs, 2 hard returns between the paragraphs, creating a space in between them. Always end with a closing salutation like, Sincerely, Joel. And always, always, always spell check your email. Even if you're writing to your closest friend, spelling errors aren't impressive. Too often students consider an email to be like a text message. But email is not texting. It's more like writing a memo or a letter. Every email deserves proper formatting, a spell check, and a proofread. Email isn't the most formal writing you'll ever do, but please don't treat it like a tweet, or else your recipient might think you're a twit. Okay, so I've left a handout for you in this lesson which really demonstrates all of the expectations and features of different sorts of online communication media. I'm going to ask you to download that handout and print it out. Keep it around on your computer for a reference. That way you can be sure about the expectations for papers, emails, discussion threads, and other online genre as you're considering how to write formally or informally. With that, we've done it. We've made it through the lessons of this survey of online learning and intellectual development, and I feel sure that you're ready to finish off the course and move on with your program. I hope you feel confident in your abilities to complete your courses, whether they're online or at the campus or even in a professional situation. The last step is to complete the final exam for this course. All of the questions on the final exam were discussed within the lessons here, so you should be ready to go. But of course, feel free to review any of the lessons prior to taking that final exam. I wish you luck with your program. I'm glad you're with us and glad you could spend some time with me.